Hello, one. This is your afternoon update today, your hurricane and severe weather update. Thank you for joining us. Today is June 26, 2011, at exactly 1:20 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And what you're looking at is Gibson Ridge radar showing some showers and embedded strong to severe thunderstorms moving across central Tennessee at this hour. Some of these storms right now are possibly producing quarter-sized hail, maybe a little bit larger, and damaging winds in excess of 60 to 70 miles an hour. As we head into the afternoon hours, these storms will continue to intensify as they head into a little bit more warmer air mass, and because of that, the Storm Prediction Center now has issued a severe thunderstorm watch across this area, including northern Alabama and southern Tennessee, until later on this evening. Here's a look right now at the Storm Prediction Center map. Right now, you see there is now a moderate risk of severe weather now over parts of the Central Plains today, from parts of Nebraska, parts of South Dakota, parts of Iowa, and now northwestern parts of Minnesota for this evening, as possibly large tornadoes are possible, extremely large hail over baseball to softball size, damaging winds of 65 to possibly 85 miles an hour across these areas. There's an elongated area of a slight risk of severe thunderstorms over parts of this, pretty much all the northern and central plains, all the way down to parts of the southeast, including parts of North and South Carolina, parts of Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas, all of Missouri, pretty much central parts of Illinois, Missouri, parts of northern Kansas, parts of Nebraska, all of Iowa, good portion of Minnesota, southeastern North Dakota, all of South Dakota, and parts of Wyoming and Montana. These stretch around the slight risk area are majority damaging winds and large hail, with the tornado risk being a little bit less slight around that area, but still worth watching, and we're going to continue to watch that for you. Here's tomorrow's outlook as I scroll down. Here's tomorrow's outlook for the area. Tomorrow's risk is a little bit more isolated tomorrow, not as widespread as today. There is a risk of severe thunderstorms over portions of the Texas and Oklahoma panhandle tomorrow, parts of New Mexico, and parts of southeast Colorado tomorrow, with the main threat being large hail. There also is a slight risk tomorrow for portions of around the Great Lakes almost tomorrow, parts of Illinois and Indiana, parts of Ohio, Michigan, parts of Wisconsin, also down into Missouri tomorrow, with those areas being damaging winds, large hail, and an isolated tornado risk is possible in that area. If you look at the water vapor imagery right now out into the tropics, you can see it remains pretty quiet in the eastern part of the Atlantic right now, with a lot of dry air with that subtropical area of high pressure. As you can see, there is some showers and thunderstorms across parts of the Leeward Islands to the Lesser Antilles. No development is expected. As you can see, there's a lot of wind shear with this upper level low center right around this area, causing a lot of shear, also developing showers and thunderstorms across that area. Also, Puerto Rico is getting some showers and thunderstorms. As you can see, there is a trough of low pressure. Trough axis has developed over portions of the Gulf Coast into the Carolinas, producing showers and thunderstorms around the Florida coastline, and parts of the Bahamas, but no development is expected as this is an elongated area of low pressure. As you can see, there is also a batch of thunderstorms elongated with the monsoon trough from parts of the Leeward Islands to South America all the way down to the eastern Pacific, with the area of thunderstorms I'm watching right here possibly is actually showing some signs of development. Models continue to want to develop this system into possibly something in the next few days, something to continue to keep an eye on. But that's what's really got our attention is a storm that's not terribly organized over portions of Central America. The center of circulation, if there is one, is possibly located over the northern parts of the Gulf of Honduras, moving to the Yucatan Peninsula as we speak. Is a tropical wave right now in elongated area of low pressure. Here's a look right now at the GFS of it, printing it out. Around this is the 500 millibar GFS, 500 millibar height. For the storm system right here we're watching, it's going to be an 1,008 millibar storm as we head into tomorrow. It's going to begin to emerge into possibly the southeastern Bay of Campeche tomorrow. Now, the track is going to be uncertain as whether it crosses back into the Bay of Campeche or it just sits in Mexico and dissipates. Some models want to keep it in Mexico and dissipate, or some west you want to keep it possibly into the Bay of Campeche before making landfall in northeast Mexico or northeast or central Mexico around Wednesday. So if it takes that northeastern track, it has a better chance of developing. But if it stays in Mexico, it won't develop. It'll just dissipate in Mexico with the potential for some very heavy rainfall. And mudslides are also a possibility with it. But as you can see right now, that big red you see right here is a ridge of high pressure. This ridge building in is keeping the system far off to the south with the steering flow. You can see the steering flow is pretty much directing the storm right into Mexico, which is likely going to happen. So the U.S. has no worries about this system affecting landfall. Here's a look at the current shear right now. You can see right where that system is, it's dealing with not as much shear, but the shear has actually increased a little bit from yesterday. Yesterday, it was in the dark blue category, which means there's a lack of shear. But gee, there is a little bit of shear moving into it right now. The system is located right around this area. The possibly elongated area of low pressure is right around this area. And it's moving into shear right now. It's got some shear dealing with it right now. So the shear is messing up the storm's formation, trying to develop into something. But the forecast does not suggest that this will likely develop before reaching the Yucatan Peninsula. It likely will probably move due west into the Yucatan Peninsula, and then, like I said, the track is determined whether it takes that turn or whether it goes this way and falls into Mexico and dissipate. What could happen is it could emerge back into the Bay of Campeche and possibly try and briefly develop before moving back into Mexico in Wednesday, but it's going to have a small window to develop into possibly a tropical cyclone before moving back into Mexico by Wednesday. So it's going to have a brief time span to try and possibly organize itself together. But right now, it's showing no signs of development, and no development is expected over the next several hours. Let's look at the Euro model right now. You can see, look on the right side of your screen, you can see there the system right now is not having a very good handle on the system. As it carries it, yeah, possibly making landfall in northeastern Mexico, but it's a weak system, it has a very weak system, maybe minimal tropical storm status if it were to develop before blowing up into Mexico. It has it possibly evolving into a burst of convection before making landfall, but it has it a very weak as it travels along the Bay of Campeche, but blowing up before it reaches into Mexico. So we'll see if the Euro tries and verifies it may develop into something right before coming onto landfall, because the Euro is a very reliable model. Let's look at the GFS model of it. Almost similar thing, just a little bit farther. It's actually way farther off to the south. It's keeping it hugging up against the southern coast of Mexico before moving into the southern coast of Mexico as a landfall. If it were to develop, it would be called a landfall. But it's keeping it farther off to the south. Obviously, if it's farther south, it's going to be a lot weaker. It's not going to have any time to strengthen, as it's over the extreme southern part of the country. It's going to hug against the coast and make landfall. So if that verifies, it's not going to be an intense storm at all. Here's a look at the Canadian model. Obviously, the Canadian model is very intense with this storm. This is not a reliable model at all. I'm not even trusting it at all. It carries this system northwest and then has it making a landfall around Houston, Texas. That's not likely going to happen. It has the ridge weakening that will tilt it up into possibly making a landfall around Mexico. I highly doubt that's going to occur of a landfall near Houston, Texas. That ridge is likely not going to weaken enough to tilt it that far to northwest. But that's just an interesting scenario it's printing out. Likely not going to happen. But one more look I want to show you. Here's the cirrus, the RGB model. You can see there is cloud cover. These cirrus clouds around the Yucatan, around the Lesser Antilles, that African Sahara dust associated with the subtropical area of high pressure, and there's also cirrus clouds in the Gulf of Mexico. So stay tuned for latest updates with this system. Have a good day and stay safe.